There's one question that comes up in almost every single interview, and it's one of the ones that people feel the most uncomfortable about answering it. And it's the "tell me about yourself" question. If you're interested in answering this question, or more broadly, curious about the job search within the UK, securing your first role, or pivoting within your career, please do subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, share this content with other people that might find this useful so that we can get a wider reach. So, back to the question, tell me about yourself. How do you answer this question? It's something that I'm asked frequently as a recruiter and hiring manager. The tell me about yourself question is a really hard question to answer, not because it's a difficult question, but it's because it's so broad. There are so many angles that you can take, and people are often lost about how they can fit in their entire career history or fit in their personality into a couple of minutes. So I'm here to take you through how to answer this question naturally, organically, and truthfully about yourself. And it also positions you in the best way possible to get the interview kicked off to the right start. So I'm often asked, why is this question asked at the start of the interview? Now, it's not to hear your entire life story, contrary to what you might think. It's actually to talk about how it is that you are positioned for this role. It allows you to talk clearly, it allows you to communicate effectively, and it also sets the tone of this interview. What the interviewer is trying to see is how well you fit into this position, but also into their wider organization. They want to be clear about how it is that you positioning yourself in this role will enable them to unlock future potential within their team, but also meet their own requirements for the role and also their own ambitions. So what they're really trying to say is, what past experiences can you bring to this role that they can then leverage within their own organ. They're also looking to see whether you've understood the job description correctly and able to understand what your position will be within this role. Now that we understand why interviewers might be asking you this question, let's think about what are the common mistakes or common things that you might be doing within this process that might be hindering you from ensuring that you progress well in the interview. So what I often find is that candidates will respond to this question in either a really vague manner. They say, I'm really motivated, I'm hardworking, I'm a team player, all things that we hope that you as a candidate can already bring to the role and that we hope that you are very well versed in. What we're trying to do is narrow down certain skill sets and capabilities that will allow you to flourish. The other mistake that I see is candidates go through a chronological order and say, I started in this position, then I moved here. And what that is doing is eating up precious time within your interview, because not every single role that you've performed appropriate in demonstrating how effectively you can perform this role. Or those roles may not even have relevant experiences that you can pull from so that you can leverage that in this role or talk about relevant experience. So it's really critical when you are responding to this interview question that you are really, really specific about the experiences that you bring into the conversation. So as you know, on this channel, we are really big about a framework, because frameworks allow us to ensure that we have the right structure in place to be successful. So we always need a strategy behind how we answer these questions. So with the tell me about yourself question, the first thing I would do is talk about your current position. Interviewers and hiring managers are really interested in the most recent experience that you've had, because it shows that those skills, the knowledge, and the experience is really hot off the press. It means that you're currently engaged with them, and that it means that these skill sets can be transferred quite easily into your current role because they're fresh in your mind and it's things that you're using day to day. So in their minds, that translates to this person can hit the ground running. So what I would do is look at the job description, look at what are the relevant experiences or projects or key systems that they need you to use. And if you are using them in your current position, highlight that as much as possible. Not only that you're using it, but how it is that you're using it and what are the outcomes. This is super critical. The outcome is the most important thing. Is it efficiencies? Is it savings? Is it time that you're saving? So all of these things are super critical for the line manager or the HR person to see that actually you are able to leverage the skills that they're using to tangible things in their business that is effectively going to make them better as an organization or improve systems. So it's so important that your current position holds a lot of weight in terms of the relevant experiences that they're looking for. It's okay. Don't panic if your current role, say you're in a secondment or you've taken a year out of your industry and that it doesn't entail that. What I would do is do the best possible matches that you can do to the current job description for the role that you're applying for. It could be that I've managed European markets as opposed to Middle Eastern markets, but then say within those projects, we did look at the P&L, or we did look at HR within that company or within that region. So what you're trying to do is say, although I might not have the relevant experience for the current market that you're hiring for, I have done these skills that are transferable into the market or industry you're looking for. So it's super important that you try as best as you can to match, where possible, skill sets and experiences. The second thing that I would do is look at past experiences. Choose 1 or 2 companies with the most relevant experience or skills that they're looking for, or systems experience that you have, and make sure you really hone in, as ever, the experience and the outcomes to say, I was using X and it delivered Y, and this was the outcome from our senior leadership, or the customers were happier X amount because we did this. What we're trying to show here is that you have a track record of having these experiences and these skill sets, and that you're a trusted pair of hands. And the third and the most important part of this framework is saying, I really enjoy doing X, Y, and Z. I'd use 3 to 5 specific examples of whether it's skills, experience, platforms that you have used within the last, say, 2 to 3 years, to run through both your past experiences. And then what I would do is talk about your future self. This is the third and most important part of this framework, which is to say, I really enjoyed and thrived and was successful in leveraging X, Y, and Z. And I noticed that it's really key to your role. And I would love to be able to share my experience or leverage this experience to also advance your company's interests. So what you're trying to do is say, I've read the job description. I understand what you're looking for as a hiring manager. I have the experience. This is how I'm going to tackle the experience or the issue for your company. This is so vital for you to do as an individual, because it shows that you've researched the company, you've had a sit down and you've thought about your own experiences, and you have thought, how best can I match this to this current organization, and how can I allow them to advance through this experience and knowledge. So it's so vital that you show that you've thought of yourself within this role, and that you're already thinking about the next 30, 60, 90 days, and that you're not just mindlessly applying for roles and not even knowing whether you're the right fit, and that you're bringing the relevant experience for them. So in summary, it's super important for the experience that you bring to be clear, relevant, and timely. These are the 3 ingredients that make the tell me about yourself question a success for you within your interview process. And as we know in this channel, repetition is the key to success. So what I would do is write out your answer, rehearse it, and then record yourself on camera, replay it back to someone that's a trusted friend, family member, colleague, and keep rehearsing the answer. You don't want to learn the answers off by heart. I have also seen this as well, and it's also one of the other common mistakes that I see, where it's so robotic. And I think, actually, have you really had these experiences, or have you generated something off a OpenAI model and then regurgitating it? It's so important that it comes across really natural. So what I would say is have some bullet points down, but then be able to freestyle the answers. What you're trying to do is make the examples specific, the answer about 60 to 90 seconds. As I say, draw out those 3 to 4 experiences and make sure that they are relevant to that company or organization or role that you're applying for. And make sure that your answer is really fluid in terms of it's really natural and engaging to the person that's interviewing you. Why I've chosen to do a specific video on this question is because it sets the tone of the entirety of the interview. As I said, once you feel like you've answered this question well, the interviewer who's making up their mind in the first 10 to 30 to 40 seconds knows that you've understood the role, you're a serious candidate who's really thought about your own experiences and the needs of the company, and that you're trying to match and bridge that gap. What it also then gives you the confidence is to give other examples as the question goes along. We've all heard about the STAR method. You're essentially starting off the interview, though it's not directly asking you for the STAR method, in such a format, so you get into that real flow state. And also, you know that it's going to be a question that comes, 70 to 90% of the time. So you already have 1 out of the 6 or 7 questions that you're going to be asked absolutely nailed. And that in itself gives you the confidence to do a successful interview. And as we know, first impressions really do count. So if you can start off on a strong foot, I would recommend you to try and put as much time as you can to getting this question nailed for each and every organization. As I've said in previous videos, not every company wants to do the same things. Some want to expand into different territories. Some want to increase market share. Some want to stabilize their growth. So it's so important that whatever you're talking about in terms of your experiences and skills, you're bringing relevant answer to the interviewer. You need to have done your research into the company and into why that role is there for you to make the most out of this question. What I would say is you can't have the same exact answer for every single company, though the experiences you might use are the same or maybe similar. What you're trying to do is tailor your narrative that you're giving them to match what the company and the role's needs are. So it will be slightly different and needs tailoring for every single interview that you go for. And now we move on to the most important part of the video, which is the homework section, which is for you to go and take this practical guidance and use it for yourself. So what I would like you to find is one role that you're keen to apply for. And once you've applied for it, think about how you would answer the tell me about yourself question. And then what I would do is, using the framework that I've shared in this video, the current, past and future framework, to work out how you would best answer the tell me about yourself question for that company and for that role. Once you've done that, record yourself answering that question, and then come back to it after a day or two and critically assess, was this answer meeting the goals of what they are trying to achieve as an organization? And does my answer maximize my chance of getting this role by highlighting the relevant experiences and show that I'm a good fit for the role? If you're unsure, what I would do is reach out to someone in your network that's trusted. Ideally, someone who's already in that industry or a hiring manager. But if you're feeling particularly nervous, I would ask a family member that's trusted or a friend to really say, can you give me constructive criticism? How effectively I've answered this question, and what are things that I can include from my experiences to best secure this role? This feedback will then allow you to train that muscle to be able to answer this question, and you'll get better over time as you practice, and to then highlight the relevant experiences so that you can best position yourself with clarity for these roles. What filming yourself allows you to see is if you're relevant, you're confident, things that you've missed off, things that you might want to highlight. What it also gives you practice for is filming yourself recording answers. A lot of companies are now using platforms such as View, etc., to get you as the candidate to record yourself for answers. So when you get into these positions, you don't want to be nervous. If you're already recording yourself answering these questions, you're already getting the experience and the knowledge and the muscle memory to be able to do this with confidence and clarity. So it's a really good skill for you, not just to answer this question, but also other questions in the future too. If you're still unsure about how to answer this question or feeling nervous around your answer, feel free to reach out to me on Your Career Toolkit on TikTok and send me your answer with the role and the company that you're applying. I'll get back to you there with what's good about your answer, what things that you might think to include, ways to improve your answer there, because I do really want you to go forward and be able to really start your interviews off with real confidence. If you have completed your homework and you have actually reached out to a company and got to interview stage and really nailed this question, please do come back into the comment sections and let me know. Or if you're feeling brave, if you've gone into an interview and you feel like you haven't maximized your answer, please do drop it in the comment sections below with any help that you might need. I read every single comment and will come back to you there. As ever, I'd be grateful if you could subscribe to this channel so that I can make more relevant content like this for you, and that you're in the best possible position to secure a role and ace your interviews and your recruitment processes. Don't also forget to share this with friends and families who might benefit. The more people we reach, the better the content gets, and also the more people that we can help, and you can do your good deed of the day. As ever, I'm grateful for your time. I hope you found this video useful, and I'll see you for the next one.